Hi there. Before I get to the topic, if you haven't read a book in quite some time, I suggest you visit me on my book reviews channel, Bookstagram. But now let's get to the UK. The character suitability of Britain's Prime Minister Johnson is increasingly being questioned. Why many believe there will be a new resident in Downing Street in 2022. In 2022, not in 2022. Ha! A difficult year is coming to an end for Boris Johnson. Many think this could be his last day as Prime Minister. A survey shows that even most Britons firmly believe that Downing Street will change in 2022. That would be an amazing development considering that Johnson won the election only 2 years ago, with the largest majority of Conservative leaders since Margaret Thatcher. The dire prediction also shows how fast political affairs have become. In May of this year, after a sensational by-election in Hartlepool, the Labour Party's former base camp political observers from all camps predicted that the Johnson era is likely to last into the next decade. In September, he won the highest poll since he took office. Now, a good 3 months later, even the conservative newspapers have been swept away. 2021 is considered a successful year. Implementation of Brexit began in January, and the government associated it with a great opportunity. The vaccination campaign is also picking up speed. Johnson is not only absorbed in his role as world vaccination champion, at least European champion, he also wanted to show the world that independent Great Britain played an important political role on the international stage. In June, he gathered the leaders of the Group of Seven in Cornwall, the G7, and in November he invited to the climate conference in Glasgow in Scotland. The event was not spectacular, but it ended with impressive results. Johnson's nuclear defense agreements with the USA and Australia sent a real signal for foreign policy. The global Britain after Brexit is anchored in the Anglosphere. Well, the fact that this year is coming to an end is, on the one hand, related to Corona. The promise to irreversibly lead the country out of the pandemic through vaccination campaigns turned out to be unsustainable. The return to normal only took a good 4 months. Then Omicron showed up and Johnson had to take protective measures again, but not enough, as I must say. Most importantly, this enabled the Liberals in his party to oppose him. In the last week of the session, 99 Conservative Party members voted against the government's package of measures. And on the Monday, most cabinet members blocked the additional restrictions for Christmas. Johnson's letter of resignation from Brexit Minister David Frost shows that many Conservative Party members still have doubts about Johnson's actions. In this regard, Frost not only called for we need to learn to coexist with the new coronavirus, but also voiced his concern about the direction of the entire journey. Like many others in the party, he hopes Brexit will turn Britain into an entrepreneurial economy with weak regulation and low taxes. That would suit his friends well. Yeah, I must say I agree with that. Frost feared that Johnson would lead the country economically on the European continent. The resignation deals a heavy blow to Johnson. Frost is one of the party members who are enthusiastic about the Brexit camp and has always supported him even in the biggest storm. These core proponents are now convinced that Johnson's compromise line is wasting the opportunity offered by Brexit, as they call it, not me. Frost also went because Johnson deviated from his tough line towards the European Union and no longer wanted to go to extremes in the disputes over the implementation of the withdrawal treaty, more precisely the Northern Ireland Protocol. When the frost is over, the government will put the Article 16 safeguard clause into effect before the end of the year, which could lead to trade war with the EU. That's what he wanted, but never happened. Although Johnson is still unpopular with most liberal city dwellers, he's increasingly harassed by the large right-wing fringes of his own party. For the head of government, such a central location is not necessarily the worst, but in Johnson's case, the central location, politically is very cramped. He can only stay there if he continues to prove to his party that he can win elections with his personal charisma. He slipped in the polls and recently lost a so-called safe constituency in North Shropshire. In this mixed situation, the necessary buffers are missing to successfully repel attacks, and they will come. Since Johnson made mistake after mistake over the past few months, there have been too many such mistakes. After the failed rescue operation for a member of the Conservative Party in Parliament who was convicted of lobbying, the government district has numerous reference books on the Christmas parties during the lockdown last winter. And then, of course, there was the wallpaper gate when Johnson asked a party donor for money to renovate his official apartment. Several Downing Street employees had to leave, but that didn't upset the Prime Minister. The investigation and the research of all of this is still going on, and even the well-meaning people before that have been asking more and more questions about his personality and his personality tendencies. Johnson should be able to save himself during the winter vacation. When political affairs resumed in January, many observers believe he needed to make a credible fresh start. This includes, above all, the reorganization of his direct work environment, which has sunk into chaos since the departure of his former chief advisor Dominic Cummings. If Johnson cannot overcome the downward trend in the next few months, this phase could soon begin, in which written letters of mistrust towards the Prime Minister reach dangerous proportions. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.